Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation as part of the Industry Insight webinar series. The topic this time is payment plans for law firms and clients. Speaking today will be Joshua Lenon. Joshua is an attorney admitted to the New York Bar. He studied law at St. Louis University of Law, obtaining a Juris Doctorate and a certificate in international and comparative law. During this time, Joshua clerked for the Missouri Attorney General, helping prosecute discrimination claims on behalf of Missouri citizens. He also studied European Union law at the University of Georgia School of Law's Brussels Legal Seminar. When working for Thomson Reuters' publishing departments in both the U.S. and Canada, he helped legal practitioners improve their services. Joshua currently serves as lawyer in residence for Clio, providing legal scholarship and research skills to the leading cloud-based practice management platform headquartered in Vancouver, Canada. He's been a guest lecturer for movements like legal hacking and legal technology at schools like MIT, Suffolk Law, and Vanderbilt. He also has spoken before organizations like reInvent Law and the ABA Law Practice Futures Initiative. The presentation today will be followed by a Q&A. Please enter your questions into the question box on the webinar panel on the right side of your screen. All questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. We're recording this webinar and we'll be sending a video and a follow-up email in a few days. We'll also post the video on our blog over at www.lawtechnologytoday.org. Thank you all for the webinar.
Thanks, Austin. Hi, everybody. I'm Joshua Lenon. As Austin was telling you, I'm the lawyer in residence at Clio. I'm an attorney admitted into New York. But for the past 6 years, I've been working for a legal technology startup, helping them with legal scholarship into the understanding of the compliance needs of lawyers, while also working with our product team on developing the features and technology that really help you guys. And I think importantly, I'm on Twitter. I know it's not everybody's favorite social media these days, but it's always been a great place for me to have conversations. So if you're looking to reach out to me, please reach out to me at joshualenon.com. I'd like to briefly go over our agenda for today. We're going to start and take a look at some law firm billing woes, areas where you guys are struggling. Then we're going to take a look at practice management billing features that are building together the ability to move towards automated payment plans. And I'm even going to give you an example of an automated payment plan at the end. And then we'll have time for some questions. It's a lot to rush through, so I hope to move quickly. But please feel free to type in questions at any time, and we will save a little time for them. So let's start with law firm billing woes. 1 second. GoToWebinar is driving me nuts. There we go. So Clio publishes what we call our legal trends report every year. And it's a look at data compiled from over 60,000 contributing law firms on how they use Clio and how it's impacting their practice. And from that, we're able to see some really interesting trends. For example, we, as a part of this research, know that over 70% of you only bill on a monthly basis. So the end of the month comes around, you stop everything that you're working on and concentrate only on bills. 27% of you still mail physical bills. 88% offer no discounts for early payments. And this actually surprised me a lot because when we look later on, we'll see that there are a lot of late or missed payments. And this is a simple tool that lawyers should be taking advantage of in order to drive people to pay their bill in full. And lastly, 57% of law firms regularly report having overdue bills. So almost 2/3 of law firms are struggling with clients just not paying on time or not paying at all. And that means that you're actually spending a lot of your time on generating bills and doing collections. If we take a look at this data from Clio's research in our 2017 Legal Trends Report, we see that all of your non-billable time, which for a lot of solos and small law firms, looks to be about 6 hours a day. You're looking at 21% of that being you're either generating and sending bills or you're handling collections. It's an hour and a half out of your day being spent on these activities alone. And it's time that you could be spending on other non-billable tasks like business development or on billable tasks. And even though you're spending all this time, an hour and a half every day on billing and collections, your collection rate is still low. We know the average collection rate for a law firm is around 86%. So for every $100 you bill, you're only getting paid about 86% of them. And depending on your practice area, it actually gets a lot worse. For example, bankruptcy only has a 74% collection rate. which means they're losing what one in every $4 they bill. It just disappears. And if you are an insurance firm, you have an even greater chance of that happening, with your collection rate being only 72%. So collections are a problem for law firms. Your bills are overdue, or they're just simply not getting paid. And that's even if you get them out. So we talked about how most law firms bill on a monthly basis. This is a stat that I stole from PricewaterhouseCoopers 2017 law firm survey that took a look at lockup days. Are the period of time from when you start billing a client to where they actually receive a bill and then pay you. And for most law firms that were included in this survey, the average was around 120 days to get paid. From the moment you put the time entry down on paper, on a napkin or a Post-it note, to when the client actually hands you a check, 120 days. So that's 4 months. So you as a law firm are actually looking at not getting paid until 4 months from now, basically December. Is that something that is acceptable to you? It should not be. And that's something to be avoided. So furthering the research and digging into this, we asked lawyers, why are you not getting paid on time? And for most of you, the vast majority, 45, well, not majority, but the vast plurality, 45% said that your bills are late because the client lacks the funds to pay the bill all at once. So I send the client a bill for $5,000. They only have $3,000 in their pocket. They just don't pay the bill then. And that's leaving you on the hook. They still have money in their pocket, but you are the one who's waiting now that period of 4 months in order to get paid for the work that you've already accomplished. That's a problem. And that's why a lot of lawyers have started looking at different billing options. So this is the continuum of fee arrangements put out by Patrick Johansson. He's a consultant to law firms. And what's interesting is, for a lot of lawyers, we operate on the left-hand side of this. We're time-based, right? We either do hourly work, we operate with a retainer, or we maybe move into budget-based, and that's flat fee or fixed fees for a period of operations. What I think lawyers should be doing, and this is what we're starting to see become more and more common in Clio's billing data, is that lawyers should have focused billing methods and be able to move quickly and easily between them. So you have hourly with fixed billing periods. So I bill you on an hourly basis and you receive a bill once a month. Flat fees with the payments due before work. You should be able to support this. And the link is interesting is you should have the ability to have a retainer or a subscription model. Now, I want to talk about the word retainer just briefly because it causes a lot of confusion in legal billing. So most people, when we think about taking a retainer, it's what is actually an advance fee deposit. The client gives me fees that will be held in reserve in order to compensate me for future work. So clients will call it a retainer. Your documents might call it a retainer. Your accounting should not. That is a deposit to trust is what it is. And your accounting should recognize and track it as such. Now, what is an actual retainer according to accounting? I liken it to a signing bonus. The client comes on board, they give you a chunk of money, and that just goes directly into your pocket because it's yours at the moment of transfer, just like a signing bonus. It basically is you being held in reserve to bill them for future work. You're not holding the money in reserve. You are now what's being held in reserve. So the retainer subscription model is great because it actually puts money in your pocket before you do any work, and it doesn't even actually prevent you from doing other work. And it's something that lawyers should be looking into and something that they can be working now. And the payment actually supports all three of these billing methods, but it just gives the client more option and more flexibility in how they pay for it. So if we know there are billing woes and we know that lawyers should be able to overcome them in a variety of different methods, what's the technology that will let you do that? Well, I think it's the billing features that are in your practice management. I'm going to show you how they all kind of combine together to enable now this future billing feature of payment plans. So your practice management should have these standard features: one-click customizable bills, the ability to handle hourly, flat fee, and contingency billing cases, and do a lot of the calculation and tracking for you. The ability to standardize your time entries, so you're not constantly recreating and rewriting time entries, but instead listing work that is in a clear and explainable format for your clients, but only takes a couple of keystrokes for you to generate. It should be able to handle tax calculations, calculate late fees that are added onto a bill, or give discounts for early payment of that bill. It should enable you to share the bill via email quickly and easily, and it should also handle your trust accounting. So if you are taking funds into trust, that advanced fee deposit that we talked about before, that you're able to track it in such a way that it generates the paperwork you need for your monthly reconciliation, and the accountability that is required on you in case there is a grievance claim filed against you. Now this is a lot, but this is all just table stakes. Every practice management system out there should have this now. And if yours doesn't, it might be time to look for a better system. Now, what are some more modern features we're seeing that help me take these standard features and start moving my firm to the next level when it comes to billing? The first of which is bulk billing. And I'm going to show you some examples from Clio, but hopefully these features exist in any tool that you're using. So with bulk billing, you're probably familiar in seeing a bill displayed somewhat like this. So here it is, generated with one click. It's customizable. I see my firm's name and logo, and then I see a breakdown of all the time entries that will go into this bill. But you should be able to generate these for more than one client and more than one matter at once. And so here's how we do it in Clio. I can just, under billable clients, so any unbilled time that I have at the end of the month, for example, I should be able to click on something like select all billable clients and generate a bill for them. And then I should be able to quickly and easily preview and scan them without having to jump back and forth. Clio's built in a quick and easy navigation arrows that you see in your upper left hand. So once I've generated my 6 bills, I can click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, see each bill using these back and forth arrows, validate that they're properly made and that they have the proper information for my client, and then I just share them via email. Here, Clio enables you to do bulk email sharing. So I select the items I want, I select how I want to share them, so either a direct email, here's your bill, click on it, or a secure message, which we call Clio Connect, that sends the client a reminder to log into their client portal and view the bill. But I should be able to do this all at once. I shouldn't have to type in 6 different email addresses for 6 different bills if I've already got those stored in my practice management system. And so that hour and a half that I've just spent, that I normally spend on billing on a daily basis, it's now really been reduced to maybe 15 minutes to a half hour, because I've bulk generated the bills. I'm able to quickly and easily navigate them and approve them, and then I'm able to share them with the click of a button. Now, we get even more automation when we start using things like bulk payments from trust. So if I am storing fees deposited in advance in my trust account for the purpose of paying bills, there's absolutely no reason my accounting system shouldn't be able to recognize that I have fees in trust, I have an unpaid bill, and I should be able to just apply that information and automate it together. So if you're on a bills page, like you see here in Clio, I'm actually able to select a couple of those bills that are outstanding. I'm able to approve them and apply trust automatically, and I'm able to see a report like this. So these are all the trust, the invoices that have been generated. Here's the source of funds that is applicable to those specific invoices and the amount in question, and where am I going to deposit them. And once I click that, then suddenly all of my bills have been paid. My client has received notice. That's required before I transfer those funds out of trust. And my accounting system documents all the different funds that have been available and moved for me. Now, it'll only show you ones that are applicable and are the appropriate amount. So there may be some that don't make the cut, and you'll have a further workflow where you talk to the client. But that's one way to greatly speed things up. Another way to speed things up is to just pay outstanding invoices at once. So say I have a client that has 3 invoices. From here, I can take the money that they've given me, whether it's a check, whether it's an online payment with a credit card, and I'm able to see all of the bills that they owe, and I'm able to then apply that information in bulk with a breakdown and however I want. So in Clio, for example, our default setting is the oldest invoice gets paid first. But maybe I have this much bigger bill, like you see at the bottom here for $7,000. I actually want that paid first. I could care less if a bill for $12 is most important. So I can alter this and customize it however I want, or I can just tell Clio, you know what, pay the oldest first, and we'll work our way down the list. So you can speed things up with bulk billing. And here's how it matters to the type of billing that your firm should be supporting. For hourly, it reduces non-billable work. Everything I've done takes the work of double checking and applying numbers on an individual basis, and now does it at scale. With flat fees, a lot of times you're actually going to be charging less than you might if you were hourly billing, because you're going to be using efficiencies to increase your margin. So that means I need to be able to bill 10 clients in the span of time when I normally would generate a bill for 1 client. And bulk billing enables you to do that, enables volume billing. And it does the same for subscriptions. But you also need to be able to prevent delinquent payments and spot them quickly, not just get my bills out. So Clio's built in an accounts aging report. It looks very similar to this, but what it tells me is, are my clients up to date, or do they have past due bills? And at what point should I be reaching out to them in order to get them to pay their bills quickly? So this is your dashboard of billing activities. The time that you've saved in generating and sending those bills can now be spent in collections, but I don't think it necessarily should be. If you accept online payments, you're actually going to quickly and easily reduce the amount of time it takes for clients to pay you. Now, this is a sneak preview of the 2018 Legal Trends Report. This is information that has not been published and made public yet, but you're getting the sneak peek. And one of the things we asked people who had had a legal issue and hired a lawyer in the last 2 years, we asked about 1,500 people this question. Would you hire a lawyer who takes electronic payments? And over half of the population out there is more likely to hire a lawyer who takes electronic payments. Nearly half of them want to have automated payments. And interestingly, 40% of them would never hire a lawyer who doesn't take a credit or debit card. So you've got a really interesting problem here in that people want to be able to pay you quickly and easily, but you're not making that possible. So that's why Clio is partnered with LawPay, and we've built it into a feature we call Clio Payments. So what's interesting about this is you get all the benefits of having LawPay with no LawPay subscription fees. It just comes automatically as a part of your Clio account, no extra charge. It allows you to deposit fees into either operating in our trust accounts and in an ethical fashion, and it has the lowest legal specific processing rates of any credit card processor out there. So how it works is, once you go through your aging report, you see a client has an outstanding bill, you can actually share it with them to be paid online. The client receives an email including a handy button to pay their bill. They enter their information, they get a receipt, and you get a notification that they have been paid, that they've paid you. This actually has been shown with law firms that are using Clio Payments to increase the speed with which they get paid 39%. So remember that lockup I talked about before, where it can be up to 4 months? We just basically lopped a month and a half off of that waiting time and put money in your pocket faster. What we actually see is the majority of bills that are sent using a Clio Payments link actually get paid within 22 days, as opposed to other bills which take longer, much longer to get paid. But we can do better still, and that moves us to the real meat of today's conversation, and that's automated payment plans. With automated payment plans, sorry, the computer's freezing for a second. Oh, we just had a crash. I apologize. Let me pull that back up. Nothing too embarrassing on my screen. I apologize for this delay, everybody. Okay, we talked about earlier that 45% of your late bill payments are due to a client lacking the funds to pay the bill in full. And that means you need a payment plan. It's both more beneficial for you to have some money now than no money at all. And it's much more beneficial for the client to have a fixed structure of payments and certainty on how they can resolve outstanding bills. And that's why Clio built our payment plan feature. And we just released it in June. How it works is if I have an outstanding invoice or trust request, so a deposit to be made directly to my trust account, I can create a payment plan in 2 simple steps. I grab my client and their information. I enter their billing information, and this means that the client is providing this for me. I confirm the payment, and then depending on the terms of the bill, the payment will be done automatically. So let's take a look at some of the options. So Terry, for example, has a payment amount of $1,000 due every month on the 1st. And that time frame is very customizable. It could be every 2 weeks. It could be every other month. The amount is as well. And I'm able to schedule when it ends. So when the invoice has been paid in full, or when a certain number has been reached. And then what happens is Terry will, on the 1st of the month, be billed $1,000 or whatever the amount is that we set. And then we'll all receive notification like this within our email of a payment going through. So rather than having to call, cajole, send to collections, I can actually in advance talk to my client at setting up this payment plan and receiving funds quickly and easily. What's interesting is payment plans can also go directly into your operating account or can go into trust accounts. And we have found that lawyers who use trust accounts actually have an 18% greater revenue when it comes to realization and a 15% greater revenue when it comes to collection. It's like giving yourself a raise when you do this, so 15%. So in Clio, you can actually see certain notifications of when you should be discussing with a client some type of payment plan. So this is part of a matter dashboard that shows how a case is proceeding fiscally. In this case, things look good. I've got money in trust. It covers the outstanding balance. But here, we've set a minimum threshold of when we should be notified that the client doesn't have funds in trust. And this should be highly visible. That's why we made it red for you. It jumps out. Oh, something's wrong. Pay attention to it. From there, I can actually generate a new trust and set up a payment plan to get that client out of the red. It's especially important in this example that we looked at it from a trust perspective, because that means I'm not already doing more work for which I'm not getting paid. Instead, I can reach out to the client ahead of time, have them deposit that money into trust before I even do work. And then I have an even greater certainty of being paid. So why should you be using payment plans? If you do hourly billing in your firm, it enables clients on a budget to pay before they go delinquent. It keeps things from going off the rails. And then it's no longer a fight about money, but more a partnership and a conversation about strategy for how to best use that money. For flat fees, it actually enables you to pay by segment. So I can generate a flat fee that might be rather substantial. So this whole divorce is going to cost you $5,000. But a client may not have the $5,000 lying around. So instead, we can pay in segments. And for subscription firms, it allows you to create recurring payments that create legal cost certainty for clients. And this is really important, and I want to give you an example of that now. So, but before we get into that, Clio has really seen an amazing uptake in how law firms operate from a fiscal and business perspective since we've launched this feature. So it's only been out for 2 months. It launched in June. And since June, lawyers using Clio payment plans have collected over $400,000. So that's nearly $500,000 that has been quickly, easily, and automatically just handed over to a law firm. How can you beat that? from a time saving perspective. What's been really interesting to me is the amount of money that's been scheduled for future payments, and that's over $6 million has been scheduled. That means law firms are expecting to realize now $6 million that they may not have been able to do before, especially with like an 80% collection rate. That's probably closer to what, 4 million? That's an additional 2 million in revenue that a simple feature is now generating on behalf of Clio using lawyers. So you should be looking at payment plans and applying them within your law firm, no matter the tool that you use. So let's take a look at one firm that does, and this is Counsel for Creators. They are a Clio customer. They're run by John Tobin. He is a great lawyer, and I know him via social media and really appreciate the work that he's doing. But one of the interesting things about Counsel for Creators is they focus on artists and other content creators, and they have a service called the Creators Legal Program. For a monthly subscription that actually is billed automatically to them, to the creators, they get unlimited phone calls with the lawyer, unlimited document reviews, and a library of templates that they could be providing for themselves. Now, not every creator is going to be phoning in every month, and not every creator is going to be demanding document review every month, but they're all going to be paying a fixed fee, and Counsel for Creators actually has tiers of which of what you get and the fee from the firm. And they've able to even offer a future discount on billable work for people who are in the Creators Legal Program. So this has given their artists certainty when it comes to their legal cost, security when it comes to the idea that I have a lawyer in my corner that I can turn to when I have questions. And for John Tobin and the rest of his firm, it gives them certainty on the financial aspects of their law firm. They know if we have 100 creators paying a certain amount of fees every month, we can count on that revenue and make plans around that. So don't shy away from payment plans. There are lots of different ways to use them. The subscription model is one of my favorites right now, but no matter how you bill, you can do that.